Hi everyone, welcome to your mat and to your practice. So we are going to do a series of short videos on some yoga poses you can try at home. So they're each going to be between 10 and 15 minutes a day because it has been shown in certain studies that just 12 minutes of yoga per day can benefit the nervous system and the body. So trying to keep them short so that you can access them more regularly and incorporate yoga into your everyday world. So today we're going to focus on our shoulders. So starting, you can either have the knees together and then reach the arms out long with the head resting on the floor. You can also have the big toes touch the knees wide on the mat and then crawl the hands forward. So it's just a little bit different of a stretch. So find your variation as you settle in. You can always place a block under your glutes to bring the floor further closer to you, and then it gives you a little more comfort as you walk the hands forward. So as you settle in, just noticing the inhalations and exhalations of the breath, taking a quick scan of the body, noticing just what you notice from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. And if you can, without judgment, just begin to notice what sensations are present for you today in your body. And perhaps taking an inhale, and on your exhale, elongating the breath. So a longer exhalation than inhalation. And you can stay as you are, or you can walk your hands over to the right. So you'll find more of a stretch down the left side of the body as the arms reach more towards the right side of your mat. So can you breathe in space to the left side body? Just noticing where you feel the stretch. Maybe setting a mantra or an intention for your short practice today. Maybe just to be present in these few minutes of connection to the body and to the breath. And on your next exhale, walking back to center, if you walk to the right, and then allowing the body to neutralize in center. And then you can walk your hands to your left side of your mat, and now you'll feel more of a stretch down the right side of your body. Taking full inhales and full exhales. And on your next exhale, walking the hands back to center, neutralizing the spine. And then coming up to all fours. So shoulders are stacked over the wrists, knees under the hips. Taking some rounds of cat and cow, so tilting the tailbone, lifting the head, coming into cow pose. And on the exhale, rounding the spine, dropping the chin, looking towards the back of the mat, coming into cat pose. So maybe taking some rounds of cat and cow here. You can also come back into child's pose and then into tabletop. Noticing what your body needs, what movement you're craving. And then as you come into neutral, you can either thread the needle from kneeling, so the right arm would come out long and thread under the left, and then the left hand would come forward, and your hips are still stacked on top of the knees. If you prefer to take this more in a child's pose shape, you can come back into child's pose, and then same option, reach the right hand to the right, and then thread under the left. Just a little bit of a different stretch here versus hands and knees. So find your variation. And find your breath. So just breathing space into the left side of the body, allowing the right shoulder to open with each inhale and exhale. And then when you're ready, placing your left hand down, pushing up as you unthread the right arm and come back into tabletop. So again, you can take some rounds of cat and cow. Just noticing the shifts in the body without judgment. And then for the second side, so same options, you can do this from the child's pose position or from kneeling. We're gonna reach our left arm out and then thread under the right, and the left ear comes to the mat. So my right arm can extend long in front of me. I could place it on a bolster, being mindful of my hips stacking over my knees. As I breathe into this stretch, perhaps noticing the stretch in the right side of the body or through the left shoulder. And on your next exhale, pressing the right hand into the mat, lifting the body up, unthreading the left arm, and taking a round of cat and cow. Maybe coming back to the child's pose position and then back into tabletop. You can flip your wrists, turning the hands out. You want to stretch through the wrist and then come back into cat and cow. And then from here, we're gonna lie on our stomachs. You can use your bolster under the armpits or a pillow if that allows you to feel more comfortable in this stretch for longer. So if you're using a prop, your arms would come over the bolster so the elbows are in front. We're coming into Sphinx, so laying flat on our stomach. Hands are in front. You're gonna push through the forearms and feel the stretch here. So with the bolster, you'll have this shape or whatever you have at home, or you can simply do it without. So as I press my forearms into the mat, finding a slight stretch in the lower back, but avoid pinching. So if it's too much, you can come down a little and not push as much into the hands. So taking a few cycles of breath here. And then on your next exhale, using your hands like a pillow for your head, simply laying on your stomach and allowing the body to neutralize here. And when you're ready, pushing yourself into tabletop. So 2 options. One is going to be on our hands and knees. You can use a bolster or just have your forearms on the floor. So again, I'm gonna stack my hips over my knees, can place my elbows onto the bolster, and keeping the hips stacked over the knees, bend my elbows, touch my hands, and my head can come to the bolster or the floor if you're not using a prop. So this is one variation. You can also use blocks under your elbows. But if you want to do this reclined, you can stay as you are. If not, you can bring the bolster under your shoulders. Use your block as a prop for your head. And then the legs can be bent or extended long. And then finding a stretch through the shoulders here. So I can either reach my arms up and overhead, or I can simply have them by my sides. So wherever you can find the stretch through the shoulder area. Just noticing your breath. Breathing into any points where you might feel tension or gripping. And if you're on your hands and knees, you can remove your bolster and you can come just lying on your stomach and then find your way on your back. If you're already on your back for this pose, you can bring the arms back if they're up and overhead, pressing through the back of the arms, leading with the chest. We're just going to come to lie on our backs. So you can stay here, you can bring the right knee into the right armpit and flexing the left toes so that my left hip is grounded into the mat. You can stay here, you can bring the left knee over and find a twist in the upper back. So the right knee may not meet the floor, you can place it on a prop or you can just let it fall where it does. As I reach my arm, right arm long, and I can look to the right for a little more of a stretch. So I'll feel this in my shoulder and perhaps through the outer hip. And then coming back to center, hugging both knees into the chest. And then grabbing the left knee, extending the right leg long, bringing the left knee to the left armpit. And then as I flex my right toes to keep my right hip grounded into the mat, bringing the left knee over the right, extending the left arm long. You can look to the left for more intensity. Just noticing your breath and just breathing into points in the body where you notice maybe that there's some holding or gripping. Maybe this side feels different than the other, which is likely. And just taking that as an information. And coming back to center, hugging both knees to the chest. You can make circles with the hips, massaging the lower back into the mat. And then extending the legs long, the hands can come by your sides, your eyes can be open or closed. You can always bend your knees if you have pressure in your low back, or if it feels more safe to do so. You can knock the knees, or you can just have the feet side by side. Just taking a gentle scan of your body after this practice, from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Allowing your body and your mind to rest. Thank you all for joining me for this practice today. From the bottom of my heart, I bow to you. Namaste. See you next time. Bye.